Welcome. Good morning. So we always say our show is for broads and bros. And today it's literally my bro's in the studio trying to plug in his headphones.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Hi, Tim.
I got it.
Wearing his New England Patriots.
Don't you dare-
It's
don't you
preseason
dare say
in
New
football,
York.
and I'm sorry. I didn't even watch the preseason last night. What happened? Patriots and
I'm sorry,
Packers,
but watching preseason is like watching the Republican fiasco or debate thing. Like, until you are actually in the season and it matters, who cares?
Well, because my fantasy draft is going to be coming soon, so I got to pay attention to who I want to draft for my team. So I should be paying
So
attention.
I think Kim is throwing out the fact that she's in a fantasy draft for all you men listening. That she's that kind of girl.
I won last year. Could we talk about that?
Yeah, she
I
totally
won.
did,
I
right.
was the rookie team owner, and I won the whole thing. And I've been getting nasty messages. from my
You're
fellow
going
team
down
owners.
this year. You're going down. So speaking of broads and bros, let's get into the show. This is Broadscast. Kim Goldman, Jackie McDougall. Hi, welcome. If you're just listening for the first time, stay here. You might like it. Okay, Jared Hill, our favorite bro podcaster, our brocaster. He's always, he's called in before, and he's got all the broad topics. What do you got for us today, Jarrett?
Well,
Good morning.
First of all, how you guys doing this morning?
Doing fabulous.
Fabulous.
Fantastic. I'm glad to be back. So the story I really wanted to bring to you guys today was the way that the Megyn Kelly fallout at Fox News has happened after the Donald Trump fiasco at the debate. I don't know if anyone's heard, but Donald Trump is running for president. Have you heard about this?
Oh my God! Really?
It's a really underreported story, so I just want to make sure everyone's aware.
Breaking news.
Breaking. But yes, last week, obviously, at the debate, he made a lot of headlines in his responses to her questions on, his sexist comments. And then he's come out, saying a lot of terrible things about her. But the real story has become the way that Fox has embraced him and not her. In Salon.com, there's an article asking whether or not, feminists should be standing up for Megyn Kelly and whether or not it was okay for them to, kind of shun her and really, stand by him. And then most recently, in the last few hours, we've learned that Megyn Kelly is actually going on a unscheduled 10-day vacation effective immediately.
Are you using air quotes for vacation?
I was in my head.
Major air quotes. I'm using PR speak, all that good stuff. Like, she's going to be gone for 10 days. She's been receiving death threats and all kinds of things. So it's kind of interesting. And I'm curious, is Megyn Kelly going to become the new face of feminism, or is it?
Oh my God! Please help us all.
Right?
I mean,
My face is made for radio, but it's pretty disgusted right now.
Yeah. Seriously, the last person we need as our spokesperson. Well, first of all, I don't even call myself a feminist. I believe that when we've talked about this, that equal rights should happen for all. But as a woman, go and kick some butt, and I
don't personally like women speaking on behalf of me without having a discussion with me.
Right.
I mean, just in general, I don't like anybody speaking on behalf of me.
Specifically Megyn Kelly.
Well, Megyn Kelly had, sometimes I listen, I think, it's a good point. Other times I don't. Just like any other male journalist or any other female journalist. I don't really have an opinion about her.
And good for her. Donald Trump is a tool. Let's just put that out there. And so for Megyn Kelly to stand up for herself and to be in that and not back down, I do have appreciation for that. And so I think that the villain here is Fox News. But you know what? That's like saying, Cruella de Vil is not good with dogs.
That's right. I was going to say, that's like saying the sky is kind of blue, right?
I don't know why I just came up with Cruella. Clearly, I've been spending time with kids lately. But
I love juxtaposing Cruella de Vil and Megyn Kelly in the same sentence. I think that's wonderful.
But I just think Fox News is, come on. Is it really news? That's where we use the air quotes. Fox News.
But isn't Fox known for hiring just hot women to read the teleprompter? Isn't that their...
Why have they not hired us?
I understand you guys have been taking meetings at Fox, but we're not going to talk about that.
But, isn't that sort of
only
like
the
their
local
MO?
Fox station because they're nice to us?
Yes. Well, what I think is actually interesting about this situation is obviously I'm a bleeding heart liberal who wants to drive a hybrid car, marry a man, and save the earth. But I look at the situation and. From that liberal perspective, I love that Donald Trump is getting all of this play because I actually think that he is going to do more and more damage to the conservative perspective and the conservative, platform, if you will, because now he's got Fox News kind of in his pocket, and no one can say anything bad about him. And there's no good place for something like that to go, especially when your star anchor, Megyn Kelly, is now being attacked by him, and the network's not standing by him. That's going to hurt them.
Do you think he's given them a ton of money to be on his side?
I don't know. Roger Ailes, the head over at Fox News, called him after a couple of days of this hubbub and, said, we're going to treat you fairly. But, there's no word on what he said to Megyn. And, all of them at Fox News have had to pull back their support for her and their shunning of him. And there's no good place for that to go. What happens when Trump drops out of the race and you still got all these fans of Megyn Kelly that watch her network and seemingly Megyn Kelly still. I don't know how that's going to go well for Fox or for the party or anything like that.
I'm a little disappointed that no one is talking about the softball wussy questions that the men posed during that debate. So there's Chris Wallace, and then I don't even know the other dude's name with the really bad spray job. He looked like he was panicked for that entire debate, and I thought, how come no one's going after the guys for being such wussies?
Well, I must say, I was impressed by some of the questions that did come out of there, especially those opening questions. A lot of them were kind of hard questions, and then I do feel like they kind of just glossed over some things, and it was frustrating to watch. Again, as a black man, I wanted to hear more about, how do we feel about Black Lives Matter? How do we feel about policing in America and criminal justice, since that's a huge thing right now? And, they did kind of softball some of those questions, or that specific question, they asked one question, and there was, one answer, and then they went to commercial break. And it was like, whoa, wait a minute, So Fox obviously gets to do whatever they want because they are Fox and because they are the official network of the Republican Party, but I think this is going to be bad for them in the long run.
Yeah, well, if I had to choose a side, I'd be Team Megyn, in all this, because Trump he's Trump, and I just, Fox News, it's all about the money. It's always all about the money when it comes to these news organizations. Well, not here at Broadscast.
I'm just disappointed that we always tend to turn our attention on things that are not as important as the big picture. And so now we're, all of Megyn Kelly's images of her posing provocatively. That's what everyone's talking about now. And how can she be a feminist if she is, leaning over with her boobs hanging out a little bit? I'm like, well, why can't we celebrate that she's sexy? Why do women have to fall into a certain, I feel like we always lose sight because
you have to wear Birkenstocks if you're a feminist. Is that the rule?
Birkenstocks, turtlenecks, and headscarves, everything.
Isn't the whole point is that we should be able to be free and independent and go for what we want? So if you want to dress the way you dress, I don't care.
And let her just be a smart, sexy woman.
Exactly. And there was some feedback from people saying Megyn was on, the Howard Stern show a couple of years ago talking about her sex with her husband and her boobs or something. And it's okay, but is that a response to the way that Donald Trump has spoken about her? Right. Is that a response to the way that, Roger Ailes has kind of completely backed away from her? Let me be clear. I am no huge fan of Megyn Kelly. I think she said a lot of things that were really, really ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But I do feel like this is a situation where this woman is really kind of getting an unfair shake because, they want to follow the money, they want to follow the ratings, and right now that's Donald Trump.
Right. Well, and I also feel like, so what if she talked about sex before? So what if she was on the Howard Stern show? That doesn't eliminate the ability for her to be smart and controversial.
You're only supposed to be one-sided as a woman? Well, you're not supposed to be multifaceted.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think that, but men too. You would never hear someone going after a man or Chris Wallace if you were ever to mention something sexual. No one would come back and remind us of that. I find that to be such a double standard.
Yeah. All right.
Disappointed,
well, Jarrett, we have to go, but tell us where to find you. Tell us where we can find you.
You can find me all over social media at Jarrett Hill. That's Jarrett with 2 R's and 2 T's on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and I'm always saying something, so you can find me online.
All right. Well, thank you as always for coming on the show, and we'll talk to you soon.
Of course, ladies. Thank you.
Bye-bye. All right. So there's so many topics today, and it's all broad topics.
Yeah.
All broad topics. So we're going to talk about Target coming up and their big thing, and we're going to talk to a fabulous couple where she wears the pants, or does she wear the pants? I don't know. That's actually a thing. But
What? She wears the pants
No,
or
the
not?
wearing the pants thing. But, you had texted me lots of fabulous topics that you were totally into.
There was one thing that came up. I saw that someone got their phone. They had a phone number that was somebody else's, and when they reset their phone, like all these crazy booty call texts came in, like all these pictures were sent to them, like,
Yes,
hey baby,
I saw
I'm in
that.
town. And I sort of feel like I would play with that. I'd get myself in trouble because I'm too much of
So the person had a new phone number that existed to somebody high profile in the past.
Yeah, because it said something about their tour being in town or something,
Right,
and
right,
do you want to
right.
meet for a rendezvous?
Yeah.
What would you do?
I would have lived her life, his or her life, I think, maybe. I don't know.
You would have just played along.
I would have become Monica Geller. Do you remember that Friends episode?
I was like, what?
Where that woman stole her identity.
Oh,
and she became Manana.
right. I do remember that. I do remember that. I think I would. I think I'd be too much of a chicken to play along.
Yeah?
I think I would for like one or two texts, and then I think I would. I thought it was hilarious that all of a sudden, one of the comments in that article was that they got sent like a very risque photo.
Right,
that
right.
If anyone found it, that they would have to be registered as a sex offender. Oh, that's pretty funny. Not that the sex offender part, but the fact that people were sending pictures and that they were.
Oh.
All right, I'm getting myself into
That's
some trouble.
crazy. Hey, so an airline wants to weigh passengers.
Yeah.
We should talk about that when we come back or later in the show or something.
Okay, don't forget.
You don't forget.
You don't forget. All right, we'll be right back
You're
after
listening
this
to
break.
Broadscast. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me on today's show. I appreciate being here.
You should come every week.
I should. I kind of like it.
All right.
So joining us for this next couple minutes, we have an old friend of mine who the world knows her as Kiki Buckley, but I only know her as Christine Buckley. So, hi, Kiki.
Hi.
Hi.
Kim actually goes into seizures when she tries to say Kiki.
I can't call you Kiki. I've known you as Christine. It's like
You're so
I can't.
inflexible.
I go by both, so you can call me whichever you want, Kim.
I know.
Kim
And
is so inflexible, Kiki. She's so inflexible.
it doesn't roll off my tongue. But okay, so Kiki, I'm going to try it. But I'm going to try not to say it with like that Kiki. So my friend Christine Buckley, we've had Christine on our show
Yes.
way back when.
In 2009, I think it was.
So we had you on, Christine, because you took off on a whirlwind tour of the Americas, and you and Yoda, your dog, you jumped. Jumped in your Prius. And you went for a journey across the country, and you wrote about it, and you have a blog on Huffington Post and on SeekingShama.com. And you left Hollywood. You were this big senior executive, big huge production company, which we won't talk about. You're a trained yoga instructor. You went to law school. I mean, you're like this big to-do, this big hotsy-totsy woman in charge of her life. And so we thought it'd be fun to have you talk about roles and relationships.
Because
See that segue? Yeah, I did that.
Yeah, because
that was an awesome segue.
Did you like that?
Because there's a whole thing where like people were surveyed whether they wear the pants in the relationship, and
you came to mind because you have a relationship with a very with a famous musician. I don't want you're free to share with us if you want. That's up to you. I don't want to ruin your private moments, but. And I just wonder how the two of you work together. You produced a documentary called Moldy, the movie about toxic mold.
Don't bury the lead. Who wears the pants in your relationship, Kiki?
I can honestly say in this particular relationship, it's very mutual, and that's a big thing to say because I'm a strong woman and I can tend to get bossy at times, which is not one of my finer personality traits, and he really brings out a softer side of me, both in business and in the personal side, which I think is why he's a perfect partner for me in both.
But when you guys first started dating, I mean, you and I, we've been friends for a long time. We've been single together for a long time. And one of the things that we always talked about was how men kind of shied away from us because we were strong and independent and in control of our lives, and how off-putting I used to still call it, and I think I can say it, a penis repellent, having some of those qualities, because it's hard for men to be comfortable being around.
You made me cough. That's how hard that was funny.
Feel like that.
Oh my God, that was good.
I mean, you're right. It's something I definitely have struggled with. You've struggled with. We've analyzed it to death. And one really nice thing about my partner now is, I mean, we met through work, and so that dynamic was already there. So he was used to me in a work setting, but he's he's older than me, and he's very secure in who he is, and I think he isn't intimidated. And it takes a really strong man, I think, to not get intimidated.
Or a rock star.
Right.
Kind of helps.
Yeah, you're not sharing, are you?
Well, okay. He is in a band called The Orchestra, featuring members of ELO and ELO Part 2. He joined the band when they were ELO Part 2, and he's recorded with everyone from John Lennon and Bonnie Tyler and Billy Joel and
oh my God, I just want to sing all of these.
On. So he's very accomplished.
Which is so funny that we have you on our telephone line. All right, sorry. I won't go there.
But did you find it when you guys first got together? I mean, I know you said that you met in a professional setting, but how did you learn how to work together when you guys got together intimately, but then to translate that into another relationship when you guys started producing and doing documentaries together?
Well, the transition was really easy. I mean, our first documentary that we started making together was about music, and it was actually about, and we're still working on it, this group of musicians that I found on the road trip that you mentioned, and they're in the middle of the Arizona desert, and because it was music related, and Eric also is into producing independent films, we thought, well, we should do this together. And so we started working together, and we realized that our personality traits and skill sets are almost like a zipper. It's kind of how I've always looked at it, like they perfectly integrate and don't really overlap. And I think that's why it works so well together. And why we're able to make it work is, we're each stronger in different areas. And, if something that I'm strong in, for instance, like negotiating a mean contract, which is not my favorite thing to do, but it's something absolutely I would never let him do, that falls into my bailiwick.
Wait. Why wouldn't you let him do it?
He's an artist. He's like, okay, take whatever you want. He's just really
he's soft. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
He's soft.
Yeah, sometimes. Okay. Yeah.
So you guys worked together. You kind of began both of them at the same time, the relationship and the working? We
did. And I think it's a unique thing. I can't say that any other relationship of mine that I would have been able to work with them. With him, it just both started at the same time, and we both enjoy work, and so it carries over into our personal life, and that's one thing we do struggle with. Not really struggle. We're careful about is we have to have plenty of us time. Like a lot of conversations, we'll be talking personally, and then immediately it'll just segue into business. It's like, oops, wait, we shouldn't go there right now.
Does it also help that you? Okay, I'm getting the sign that we have to go to break.
But when we come back, I want to talk about your latest project, because I think it's really, really important that you share a little bit of information about that.
Okay, stay on the line, awesome. Kiki.
Okay.
Kiki, we'll be right back on Broadscast.